All right, thanks, guys. Welcome to the morning line. Let's just go ahead and get into today's sports betting schedule. Couple games, couple line moves. So let's just go ahead and see who's playing today. And we're going to start with the Western Conference Finals. That's game 2, talking about Golden State at Houston. That is a 9 o'clock tip-off Eastern time at the Toyota Center. Now, despite being thoroughly beaten in game 1, the Rockets opened the betting as the 2.5-point favorites in this one. Total opened at 225.5, and Houston opened up as the $1.35 favorites on the money line. And since the markets opened this one up, we've actually seen a steady and consistent fade of the Rockets in the early going here. We've also seen a good amount of under money from the public bettors. Right now, Houston's minus 1.5, totals at 224 and a hook, and the Rockets are the $1.25 favorites on the money line. So once again, Houston open 2.5, now 1.5. Total open 225 and a hook, down to 224 and a hook. And at the moment, Houston is the $1.25 favorites on the money line. All right, let's sneak into some Major League Baseball. We got some good slate of games today. We're going to start with the Phils and the Orioles beginning at noontime. And I don't have a line for that, of course. Already suffering here. I want to slide into the Cardinals and the Twins. That's going to be a 1:10 Eastern start, and that is going to be in Minnesota. There are your stats there. And when it comes to the lines, St. Louis is the $1.15 favorites. Totals at 9.5. Minnesota gets the 1.5. Not a whole lot of line movement in that one. St. Louis opened as the $1.10 favorites on the money line, so they made a 5-cent move in favor of them. And when it comes to the starting pitching, we have Miles Mikolas for St. Louis, Lance Lynn for Minnesota. Mikolas is 5-2. Or I'm sorry, St. Louis is 5-2 in their games where Mikolas makes the start. Minnesota's 2-5 in their games where Lance Lynn makes the start. All right, next game I have for you. It's going to be Toronto at the Mets. There we go. That's a 1:10 Eastern first pitch. And the Toronto Blue Jays are the $1.30 favorites in that one. Totals at 7.5. And the underdogs get the 1.5. Now, we have seen significant line movement in that one. The Blue Jays opened as the $1.10 favorites, and the total opened at an even 8 runs, an even 8 flat. And since the markets opened this one up, heavily shaded towards Toronto. Toronto's now laying $1.30. That's a 20-cent move in favor of Toronto to win this one outright. Meanwhile, in the total, we actually saw that one move down to 7.5. That one opened at 8, down to 7.5. And of course, the Mets get the 1.5 on the run line. So once again, Toronto opened $1.10, now $1.30. Total opened 8, now 7.5. And the Mets get the 1.5 on the run line. 56% of the public bettors are leaning towards Toronto. Next game, Cleveland-Detroit. There we go. That's a 1:10 first pitch as well. Cleveland heavily favored in this one. They are the $2.20 favorites on the money line. Totals at 9.5 in that one. I do not have any line movement in my records for that one for you. So I don't know where that one is moving, but Cleveland heavy favorites on the money line. Next game, Tampa Bay, Kansas City. See if I'm going in the right direction here. Absolutely not. Tampa Bay, Kansas City. There we go. That's a 2:15 Eastern first pitch. And that one's pretty tight to the line. This is pretty much a coin flip game. Tampa Bay is $1.15. Totals at 9. Not a whole lot of movement there. Tampa Bay opened $1.05. They're now $1.15. That's a 10-cent move upward in favor of Toronto. No movement on the total there. Small flip of the run line. Tampa Bay at one point was plus 1.5 on the run line, but they are now laying the 1.5. And when it comes to the pitching, it looks like we got Faria and Hamill. All right, next game. Milwaukee, Arizona. Let's see if we can locate that here on the app. There it is. That's a 3:40 first pitch Eastern Standard Time. And Milwaukee's actually the favorite in this one. They're $1.15 on the money line. And we saw a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in that one. Milwaukee opened plus 110. They're now laying 115. Total opened at 8.5. That moved up to an even 9 runs. Right now, good amount of the money is on Arizona, so that line might flip back over. But we got Woodruff and Koch on the bump for both of those squads. All right, next game, Texas, Seattle. That's another early one. 3:40 Eastern first pitch at Safeco Field. And Seattle is the $1.35 favorites in that one. Totals at 9 flat. Not a whole lot of movement in that one. Seattle opened $1.30. Now $1.35, just a 5-cent move in favor of Seattle. Starting pitching in that one, nobody. Nobody's pitching in that one. Wow, what a great first episode for me here. All right, next game we have Cincinnati, San Francisco, and that is a 3:45 Eastern first pitch in San Francisco. And the Giants are the $1.60 favorites. They took a lot of money in the early going here. Totals at 8.5. Now, San Francisco opened the betting as the $1.35 favorites. Since this one opened up, they are now $1.60. That's a 25-cent move in favor of the Giants. We got Harvey. Matt Harvey for the Reds. Suarez for the Giants. Next game, Yankees at Washington. I had a little action on the Yankees in Washington yesterday. We had a 3-3 tie going into the 6th, and got canceled. Bad weather. So I'm not doing any plays in baseball today. That was disappointing, though. I thought we had a good opportunity there. Washington was getting plus money at home. I know the Yankees have been great, but lost opportunity there. All right. Where are we at here, Brock? Focus. Yankees at the Nats. Washington is the $1.65 favorites in that one. Totals at 7.5. A little bit of line movement in there. Washington opened $1.75, now $1.65. So a 10-cent move in favor of the Yankees. And they do have CC on the mound. Scherzer for the Nats. That should be a gem. That should definitely be a good one. I don't see too much movement on the total there. I don't think that one's going to move up. So get comfortable at that 7.5 line if you're looking to play a total here. All right, next game, Oakland Boston. There they are, going out of order. 7:10 first pitch, Fenway Park, the Green Monster. Boston is the heavy $2.60 favorites on the money line. Totals at 8 flat. We had a little movement in this one. Boston opened $2.65, now $2.60. Total open 8.5, now 8. Starting pitchers, Cahill for the A's, Sale for the Bo Sox. Next one, we got the Dodgers at Miami. Dodgers at Miami, 7:10 first pitch in that one. The Dodgers are the $1.55 favorites in that one. Basically 3-2 to win this one outright. No movement on the money line as of right now, but we have had significant movement on the total. The total opened 8, now 7. And right now, 65% of the betting public is leaning toward the Dodgers. So look for their equity to decrease if that trend continues by first pitch. So once again, Dodgers opened $1.65, now $1.55. Total open 8, now 7. Not a whole lot of movement on the money line there. We got Bueller for the Dodgers, Smith for the Fish. All right, next game, Chicago Cubs at the Atlanta Braves. 7:35 Eastern first pitch, and that is down there at Fulton County Stadium. No, I'm just kidding. That's at SunTrust Park. And the Cubbies are the $1.05 favorites. That's pretty much a coin flip match there. Totals at 9.5. I've got no movement on the line or the sides. Starting pitching, Chatwood, McCarthy. Next game, Houston at the Angels. 9:40 first pitch. and that is going to be our last game in MLB. 9:40 first pitch. Angel Stadium of Anaheim. Houston is the $1.30 favorites. Totals at 7.5. Not a whole lot of movement on the sides on the money line, but the total actually opened at 7 flat, and we have had a little movement on here. Total's now at 7.5. So once again, money line open at 130, now 130. Total open 7, now 7.5, and at the moment, 73% of the betting public is leaning toward Houston. We have Justin Verlander for the Astros and Richards for the Angels. And then we are going to slide into some NHL. We have one game tonight, and that is going to pertain to your beloved Vegas Golden Knights. That's Winnipeg at Vegas, and that is a 9 o'clock puck drop in the Strip in Las Vegas. Let me pull up the lines here. I just want to catch some of the line movement because I'm sure we've had some. All right, Vegas opened the betting as the $1.45 favorites with a total at 5.5. And since the markets opened this one up, we've actually seen a little fade of the Golden Knights in the early going here. They're now $1.35. Total remains at 5.5. Now, I do have a little action on this game. I played a rare total. So, I have an over in this one, the over 5.5. I think this one's going to go over. I don't think we're going to see a defensive game here, but who knows? We'll see. I don't normally bet totals, as a lot of you guys know. So anyway, Vegas opened $1.45. They're now $1.35. Totals at 5.5, and I have no idea where the public is leaning at the moment. So anyway, that is your lineup for today. Best of luck to you. Thanks for tuning in, and have yourself a positive day.